We are about to embark on an immersive journey through the corridors of our minds. Stand by as we prepare for departure.
Welcome aboard, everyone, to the Productivity with Peace of Mind podcast adventure. Our journey will begin in just a moment. Inhale deeply and exhale. Our voyage takes us on a captivating tour, diving deep into the intricate layers of our thoughts and imagination. Brace yourselves for the complexities of our evolution. For a safe and enjoyable journey, stay seated, secure your helmet and protective goggles, and keep hands, feet, and legs inside while the ride is moving. Now relax and enjoy.
What if I told you that in just 90 days, you can accomplish more than you even thought possible with the right intentions and planning? Today, we have a dedicated coach and mentor for entrepreneurs who work from home to share her 5 step plan for setting and achieving meaningful goals.
Today, we have with us Gale Bates, who is helping entrepreneurs manage overwhelm and time effectively, which, as you know, is super important here on productivity with peace of mind, because that overwhelm piece can take up so much of our time and energy. And so I'm so excited to have Gale here with us today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Lindsay. It's lovely to be here with you today.
Absolutely. And I want to jump right in on why. So, you talk about something called the 90-day goals, and that's not a new concept, but I think the way you teach it is really cool. So, tell us why you think that the 90-day goals are so effective and so important when we are planning our lives intentionally.
Yeah, I'm just passionate about it. I just feel that with 90 days, it's a great amount of time to really achieve something. And so
Yeah.
I've worked with that with my coaching clients over the last 20 years and found it to be extremely effective. And I've just
Yeah.
broken it down and into bite-sized pieces so that it makes it really simple for people. Because so many people say, I don't set goals, they never happen for me,
Mhm.
and that's why I came up with the 90-day goals, and I have a 90-day goal plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So what does that look like, or how do you set that up? Is there, kind of can you walk us through maybe I think you have like a 5-step plan for achieving
Yeah,
those goals. So can you
they
see what
do.
that looks
I
like?
have a 5-step plan, and it's pretty simple. Like I like simplicity, and
Yes.
so it's basically we start out when you ask yourself three vital questions, okay?
Mhm.
And those three vital questions are: what do you want to achieve? Okay. The second is what's going to keep you from achievement? Like what distractions will keep you from
Mhm.
achieving it? And then the third question is what's going to look like when you achieve the goal? So you've really
Yeah.
set yourself up right now going through those three what that's why I call them vital questions. And that's the first.
Yeah.
Then the second
Yeah.
step is you create some milestones, okay? And because it's a 90-day goal, I suggest you have three milestones at the end of each month so you know where you're going and you
Okay.
keep stuff on track. And then
Yeah.
I walk you through what I call a brain dump exercise, where you're getting all those ideas and actions that it's going to take to achieve that goal. And I set you up with some weekly goal sheets that help you stay on track. Okay. And you've got to then have it. The step five is just basically following all the actions that you've laid out for yourself. So it's really a pretty simple concept.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super cool. Well, I love that you call it the vital questions too, because as you were talking, I was kind of like visualizing, you know, you go to the doctor and they take your vitals. And when you're setting up a goal or a plan, you're kind of like, what are the vital, right? It's almost like a double meaning, but it's like kind of like taking the vitals of your project.
Yeah. Well, there was a study done by Harvard that I always share with my clients, and they talk about high achievers, and
Yeah.
they say 80% people don't think about goals, right? And then 16% don't write them down. And then
Mm,
4% actually write them down. So it's interesting to see where you're at on this level.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
only 1% write them down and regularly review them every day. And I just love that. I just think it is so true. And so when I'm working with coaching clients who don't want to set goals, I try to share with that with them so that they understand it's so important. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I love that. I feel like I know so many people, and I've talked to so many people who either fall in the realm of I thought about my goal, but I didn't write it down, or I wrote down my goals, but then I never looked back at it. Right?
right.
Like, I think
I
that's
write them
so
down.
easily missed.
Yeah, yeah, and it's it is the way it is. But so it's just how much do you want to achieve this specific?
Yeah.
That's where what it comes down to. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I like to say that it's almost like being your own manager, right? Where it's like if you kind of break yourself into two and you have the manager and the employee in your own brain, and you're kind of like, okay, the manager self is going to take some time to make this plan and be really intentional. And then the employee self of your own brain can just go follow that. And it's a lot easier than trying to constantly, I think, just ping pong around. What did I need to do? What was that thing? How do I stay on track? And the typical way of just trying to like, go full force at something without real intention or thought.
right, yeah, yeah. There's a book, I can't remember it, but it's called Your Inner CEO,
Ooh,
basically.
I like that.
And that is it teaches you, it's exactly the concept you described. But when you are your own CEO, you have to be that person that tells that other side of you, you have to get this done, right? And so
Yeah.
setting up that goal for yourself is actually helping you achieve what you want, how you want to grow your business. As an entrepreneurs, we have to be diligent in setting these goals because there is no boss out there telling us what to do, right?
Yeah.
We are
Yeah.
we are our own bosses, and we love that. That's why we are entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing that you said that I really love, and it's actually one of my favorite parts of the process, but it's that brain dump of just like getting all the thoughts out of your head onto paper, right? Like it's almost like taking a shower. Like you're just like, oh, okay, I'm free and clear.
Yes, yes, because it just brings clarity, okay? And it is there's just something cathartic about it. But you brings when you say, "Oh my God, I could do this," or "Why not do that?" And I like to do brain dumps with post-it notes.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
when you do a brain dump with post-it notes, I just put them. You can just put them on a board, or you can put them on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. But with
Yeah.
post-it notes, you can then take them and prioritize them, which I feel is really essential, especially when you're setting up a 90-day goal. What is really important? Because
Mm,
and it's helping you one, and just looking at it for a few days. You don't have to do it in 5 minutes. Take time and getting it done because other ideas are going to come out of your head by doing it. Yeah, it's a
yeah.
very powerful. It's simple but very powerful exercise.
Yeah. So I've done the post-it note thing when like writing a book because or like, note cards, post-it notes kind of thing where you kind of like, spread it out over a whole big table or countertop. But I've never done that for a project. So I'm actually going to take that away myself to go try that because I think that's a really cool idea to really break it apart, like you said, and prioritize and move things around. Or maybe you'd pick up one and you're like, you're not that important.
Yeah.
Toss.
Exactly. Yeah. It's focusing on the how that you're going to
Yeah.
achieve it. That's what it's all about, in my opinion. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great
I
little.
love that. So, yeah. And so for the monthly milestones you talked about, kind of breaking that down into like 3 big milestones, how do you recommend that we select those, or how do we, you know, go backwards to decide what those will be?
Yeah, it really depends on what your goal is, but the most important thing about the milestones is they help you focus. So when you're breaking them down, every what do you want to achieve in the first 30 days, the second 30 days, the third 30 days? What's your focus going to be to achieve?
Yeah.
And then, you know, those milestones help you measure the progress. So at the end of the first 30 days, and you look at, well, where am I at? Did I get to this point, or am I way, way behind on this point? Measuring, that's what I love about my milestones. They just help you measure your progress. And more
Yeah.
important, I think they help you stay accountable. Being
Yeah.
accountable to a goal is really important, because you could 5 6 days, a week could go by, you do nothing, right? And it's the third week of the month, oh my gosh, I got to catch up. So
Yeah.
looking at those, when you've broken those, what milestones, I actually call them mini goals. So you're kind of breaking your big goal down into 3 mini goals, is what I'm looking at there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. Do you have any example of one you've done recently that has gone well or worked well to give us kind of a visual?
Yeah, gosh, I had a client who wanted to grow her team. She was looking at
Okay.
growing her team. And so she broke it down into how she was going to, she broke it down into the trainings that she was going to give her team to help them increase their teams as well. This was kind of like a direct
Nice.
selling thing. And
Okay.
she broke each one of those down, and then she broke it down in further into how many specific times that they would work with her in finding people to share the opportunity that they were sharing with. So she actually broke it all down, and that is actually in my 90-day playbook. I show you exactly how that works in the 90-day playbook,
Nice.
so that you get an
Oh,
idea
that's awesome.
on how to break it down.
Yeah, I love that. And how do you keep yourself accountable, or how can we keep ourselves accountable? So we write the goal, we make the plan. Like, how do we make sure that we actually are circling back? Because I hear that a lot too, where people say, "Oh, I'm so great at planning and I put it on my calendar and then I just ignore it."
Yes, yes. So, there are a number of different ways to keep yourself accountable. One of the biggest areas that I especially I work with myself and I work with my coaching clients, is on weekly planning. And it's like, I call it Sunday planning, and it's
Mm-hmm.
non-negotiable. Every Sunday,
Yeah.
you sit down for 30 minutes and you plan your week, and you look at what actions you need to take for the week. And it's a system. I set it up as a system where you schedule everything. And then you're scheduling all those tasks that you've got written down for your 90-day goal are actually scheduled in your planner. And so it does take discipline. Okay. The other part of being accountable is having an accountability partner. I just did an interview yesterday with an entrepreneur, and she actually has a daily accountability partner, which I was very impressed with. Uh, you know, Usually accountability partners are, you check in every week to see how what
Yeah, yeah.
you made. But this person actually has a daily accountability partner. I was so impressed with what she was doing there. So having
Yeah.
someone who's going to keep you on task is great. The other thing is how disciplined are you? That's the other part of being an entrepreneur, is being disciplined about being accountable to your goals. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Super important. And I mean, yeah, daily accountability partners, I agree. Pretty impressive. That's pretty intense, but I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She said they check in just 20 minutes in the morning, to see what transpired the day before. It's part of her mastermind group. I was just blown away by a daily accountability.
Yeah. 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 But I've heard the same as you. Usually it's like weekly, monthly, bi-weekly, but yeah, daily's impressive.
Yeah, I'm very, very strong and strongly recommend my weekly planning system and the Sunday planning system because most of my clients that do it find they get the best results because they're on it. You're on task. You know exactly. You don't wake up Monday morning feeling okay. Now I've got to organize myself. Monday morning's
Yeah.
organized. Okay, when you plan
Yeah.
on Sunday, and it's just making time for it every Sunday. 30 minutes doesn't take a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. So for myself, I'll do kind of a monthly review. Like
Yes.
as the month is coming to the end, I'll go through and I have like a personal calendar, I have a corporate calendar, all of these things. And so I'll go through and make sure that everything's lined up. Like for example, for I think the month of August, I was looking ahead and I was like, oh, okay, like I had scheduled this podcast interview on a Wednesday evening and then I had a work trip that week and so I had to move it. So like I'm always looking ahead of like, okay, how can I make sure this is super clean, no stress? Like I'm a big advocate of how can we plan ahead so that it's easy, so that it's simplified and breathable. Because how I used to operate was like cram everything in as much as possible, max it out, absolutely destroy my health and not take care of me, right? But I've flipped that switch entirely now.
Yeah. Yeah, my motto is schedule everything, and what
Yeah.
gets what gets scheduled gets done. That's what's
Yeah.
really what happens, and that's why Sunday is so important. Some people
Mm.
say, "Well, I can't do Sunday." Well, they do it Friday or they do it Saturday, but pick a time
Yeah.
where you're actually planning a week ahead, and things do change. You're right. You have to
Mhm.
adjust, but pretty much things stay on task when you have that plan ahead, and even if it's I have a system where I actually use a paper planner and a Google calendar, and I sync everything every Sunday. I call it
Mhm.
Sunday. Okay, so every
I
Sunday
love it.
I know exactly what's going on. So if I'm not at home, it's all on my Google calendar on my phone. If I am at home, I work from my planner on my desk. Yeah, that's what really works for me.
Yeah. What I really like is that you're so disciplined on keeping it at Sunday. So like I'll do my month planning ahead, right? My review, I've got the month ahead, and of course things are going to change, but like I'm just looking ahead to make sure that I'm clear. And then each week I'll do a planning session, just kind of like reviewing what I've, already planned, what's already there, adding anything that's needed, making any tweaks. But then I'll switch. I'll vary between either Monday morning or Sunday afternoon. And
Yeah,
I actually really like that you are very disciplined on keeping yours on Sunday because I can tell you when I do it on Sunday, it's so much easier and breathable than when I do it Monday because I feel a little bit behind. Even though I've done that, some pre-planning, it's not all, you know what I mean? Like you're just like, oh, like the day's already started and I'm, trying to review my calendar still and I feel behind. Even though if you're not, you
yeah,
might feel like you are.
yeah. It's just that idea of waking up Monday morning and knowing that your week is planned out. That's
Yeah.
how I feel about it, and
Yeah.
it really helps me. And I've worked with so many clients that take it to heart because I really stress how it's going to really help them.
Yeah. I feel like it's a great way to take care of yourself.
Yes. Well, and then when I say schedule everything, you schedule all your self care. You schedule everything. You work.
Mhm.
That's how I work. I work from my planner.
Yep.
Every
Me
day I'm
too.
looking at it. Every night before I go to bed. Oh, what's up tomorrow? That's just who I am. Some people don't like to work like that, but I love to work like that.
Yeah. Yeah, same. It almost feels like being held, right? You're just like, oh, I'm supported. I don't have to stress. I don't have to worry. Like when you're
Yeah.
doing one thing, you don't have to be like, oh, should I be doing this other thing? It's like, no, it's scheduled. It's good. It's blocked. We've got it. It's all going to get done. And I
Yeah.
don't even have to worry.
Nothing gets missed when you schedule, especially when you schedule on Sunday. That's my point.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. And I
Yeah.
feel like in today's world too, like, whether you're an entrepreneur or, a busy professional, like we all have so much on our plate and there's so much data and information coming
That's
in and out every single day that it's impossible to remember it all. And anytime I do work with anybody, the feedback I always get is like, wow, your follow through is so strong. And I'm like, I just put everything in my calendar. Like it's
yeah.
not even me, it's the system, right?
Exactly. And that's the setting up the systems. And as entrepreneurs who work from home, being your own boss, you need this. This is something that's absolutely,
Yes.
you're right. There is so much out there today, especially now with social media marketing. You have to have some kind of system set up for all of that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know we talked a little bit in planning for this episode on other productivity tools that you recommend, like the
Yeah.
Pomodoro technique, batching, time blocking, the
Yeah.
15-minute, magic tricks. Do you want
Yeah.
to talk to us about those?
I am such a huge believer in the Pomodoro technique. I use it all the time to get projects done. I like right now. I have a planner that I put out every year, a paper planner, and I'm working on my paper planner. And alongside of it, I have a guidebook because I have what you call the purposeful planner system. And there's a lot to do. And so, working the Pomodoro, it's a 25 minutes of focused time where you actually
Mhm.
turn off all notifications. Nothing is going to disturb you, and you sit and you focus and you get the work done for 15 minutes. Then you stop and you get up, move around for 5 or 10 minutes, and I go back for another 25. I call them palms. So I'll look at a project and I'll say, okay, this is probably going to be a 5 or 10 palm project that I'm going to schedule into my day, and that's where time blocking comes in. I'll look at my calendar, and my planner that I create actually has spaces for time blocking in it, which is why I feel it's really important to get things done.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the Pomodoro really works for me. The 15-minute magic is all about what can you do in 15 minutes? Because how many times do you have 15 minutes in your day and you think, oh, I have 15 minutes before something else happens? And
Yeah.
you can either take a break, which is great, and I call it working the nooks and crannies of your day, basically.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
maybe you can do 15 minutes of emails that you've been wanting to get done, or 15 minutes of follow up, or just whatever it is. When you find that you have that 15 minutes, is making time for it. And there's a great book out there um, by a guy called Dr. Tom Barrett. And he says that 15 minutes is going to help you have the best day, the best month, the best year that you have in achieving your goals, because you did something in those 15 minutes and you didn't waste it. That's why it's called 15-minute magic.
I love that. I'm a big fan of fitting things in, in between when you have that downtime or that net time where like there's nothing else really going on. I mean, even today I was like wrapping up work and then, I had about 15 minutes between that and our call. And so, I'm like calling, into the doctor's office, getting prescriptions refilled, got
Yeah.
that done. It was super easy. And then I hopped on, right? Like it's just like, what's that little thing I can just check off that otherwise you just like sits on your list for days and you're like, oh, I got to do that thing, but it's actually super easy.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get a lot of emails that I need to respond to. So what I do is I hit the reply, and I just
Mhm.
put a word in there or a letter or something. And so when I look at my email, I can see all these little red replies that I've got to do. That's a 15,
Mm,
okay.
I
I can't
like
do
it.
it right now, but I can now I'll go back. Oh, I need to reply to that, and that. And that's, you work out what you can achieve in that 15 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, I really like that. And so you mentioned a book by Tom Barnett, did you say
No,
Barnett?
Dr. Tom Barrett. It's called
Oh, Barrett.
Dare to Dream, Work to Win.
Okay. I'm writing down all these books you're recommending.
Oh yeah, I have a huge library of books that I recommend.
We're gonna have to start a book club.
Oh, definitely. A productivity book club. How's that?
Seriously, I am all for it. That'll be our next episode. It'll be like all the productivity books.
Okay, good idea. I'm big into productivity. In fact, have you read the book Productivity by Chris? Can't think of his name, but you can look that one up. It's a really, really good book. I'll send you the
That's
info.
perfect. Yeah, we'll have to link these in the show notes too for anyone else who wants to go find them.
Yeah, yeah.
So how can we tailor these strategies to fit our own personality and work style? You kind of touched on this a little bit where you said, I operate really well this way, not everyone does. So how can we kind of work in our personality into this as well?
Yeah, it's not so much about personality, it's more about your behavior and how you work.
Okay.
There there are people out there who are results driven people. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
very much a results driven person.
We're both
Okay.
raising our hands.
That's why the 90-day goal plan works for them, because it
Yeah.
gives you focus, you're disciplined, you can get it done. So there are those people. Then there are people out there who, they need to, they like fun in their life, and it needs to be light for them to achieve it.
Mm,
So um they have to set it up a little differently, as far as
okay.
the way it's going to work for them. They have to figure out how they can achieve this 90 goals and be happy achieving that 90 goal. And
Yeah.
if all of these steps are going to drive them crazy, it's not for them. So they've got to really figure out what it is that excites them about achieving
Mm,
the goal. And then there's the people that I call the step by step people. Okay, and they love it when they set up those 10 steps. They have the action steps in front of them. They feel very confident in moving forward to achieving their goal. And
yeah.
the last person that you'll find is that detailed person. Okay, that person who, when they've written down the tasks, they're in total detail on exactly how they're going to do each one of those tasks. And when they've got those details down in front of them, that really helps them achieve their goal. So it's just figuring out what is the best way that you it's going to help you work towards achieving your goals. Like we said in the beginning, people don't set goals because they say, well, I never achieve them. People write them down,
Yeah.
never look at them. And so figuring it out what it is about the way you work, the behavior that works for you, that's going to help you achieve your goal. So
Yeah. I,
hopefully anybody who's listening, that they figure out which one it is for them.
right, right. And I love that question that you asked, which I almost feel like we could all ask this question of like, what excites me about this, right? Whether that is your results or the to do or the tactic or part of the journey, like why is that important to you? Because I feel like that's what really gets kind of that fire going under us.
Exactly. It is. It is. And so it just, as I said, you're either your result, you want that result, or you have to be excited about it, or you need to take the step by step way to make it happen, or perhaps you need all the details before you can dive in and make it happen.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I think like the why behind what we're doing is so important because like for me, and I think probably a lot of high achieving people can relate to this. And I don't know if you relate to this at all, Gail, but sometimes there's kind of this like running from, right? Or running to of like, I'm just trying to achieve to avoid something or to run from the discomfort or, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like a distraction or a numbing of like, I'm just going to achieve, achieve, achieve. And then you're like, wait, what am I doing? And how I've shifted that now within myself is that why of like, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Why does this matter? You know, what can I let go of? So I don't know if you've had any experience with that at all or seen that with your clients.
You always have to go back to that. You have to why you always have to go back to your why, and your why
Yeah.
is attached to what excites you. You know, this does not have to be a grind. This has to be as entrepreneurs, okay, who work from home, who set goals, who want to achieve, you want to build a profitable and business and successful business. um, it's important to understand why you're doing it and what lights
Yeah.
you. What is it that lights you up? And for me, it's about seeing the success of my coaching clients when they're faced that they set up systems and things that really help them achieve success. That's what lights me up.
Mm. That's so powerful and so meaningful, right? Because it's like, you know that you made that positive impact in other people's lives. You made their life more joyful, easier, simpler.
Yeah. Yes, it's very rewarding.
Yeah, I agree. And so looking back at what you were talking about before, this kind of like weekly, monthly planning, kind of these like regular check-ins we have, you know, whether it's with ourselves or with an accountability buddy, why is that so important? And how can we, you know, find a way to work that into our routine or how do we make that, you know, a regular thing for ourselves?
Yeah. It's about routines, and actually call them tiny habits. Okay.
Oh, I
um
like that.
Yeah, I have a freebie, lead magnet on the 10 tiny habits I recommend, um, that people look at in that entrepreneurs look at in their business. So one of them is the Sunday planning. One of them is the 15-minute magic, using the 15-minute magic. So it's about understanding that if we have these little habits that we do over time, and we start to see the results of our work. And
Yeah.
I have clients that say to me, Gail, I this is working now. I see it happening because you
Mm,
adopted to working these routines and habits, like even the Sunday, the 15-minute habit, uh, the Sunday planning habit. It can be huge, and it can just make that much difference, like you said, with so much to do. And if you just sitting down on a Sunday for 30 minutes makes a difference. And that's what I think it is in the success of everybody who want to feel like they are achieving their goals.
yeah. I couldn't agree more. And I know you talk about consistency too, and that's super important. And I think like for me, the more I got in the habit of doing those planning sessions with myself, it actually became fun, right? Because at first you're like, oh, it feels grueling. It's going to take all this time and energy and effort, and I don't want to deal with it. Or maybe you've avoided it for so long that it's just a mess, and you're like, oh, there's so many, you know, double book things and there's just my calendar's a disaster. I don't even know what to put where. But I think once you get through that discomfort, it can be really fun. Like for me, I really enjoy it. It's kind of like time for me. I can kind of block things out and really like think through like, okay, Wednesday evening from 6 to 8, I want to lay on the couch and read a book. You know, like it's not just about the hard things either.
And it's also about making progress, okay? And
Yeah.
seeing that progress, because what is the saying? It's progress, not perfection. right?
Yes. Yes.
So, every week, if you say, well, it's like me working on my planner. I've been working on this planner and the planner guide for the last, 60 days. And each day is a little bit more of setting up the tasks for that, making it happen. You see the progress um, in achieving the end goal. And I think it's having that feeling like you're on track and it's not overwhelming, which is happens a lot these days, right? With so much to do.
Yeah.
Um, and that's where this, I just can't say it enough. When you go back to that weekly planning, you're going to find you are on track, okay? And you're going to see the progress in achieving the goal.
Yeah. And how do you track your progress? Do you have like, linear lines where you're like, okay, I'm 50% there? Like how do you measure your own success with your own projects?
Well, I'm big on to-do lists, okay?
Mhm.
That's how I measure.
Mhm.
And I'm aware of the progress. I think that's important as well.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
I'll have for a specific project, I'll have a to-do list written in my one notebook system, which I have. I only keep one notebook. Okay, I go through a lot of notebooks one at a time. I call it my brain in a notebook. Um,
Yeah.
and um, and so I'll do a specific to-do list for the project, and that's how I'll track my progress is what have I got done, how much I've got done, and I find for me that works a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a great visual, right? To like see like, okay, I'm like halfway there. Okay, I'm 3/4 of the way there.
Crossed out 5 things. Okay, I've got another 5 to go.
Yeah.
It that's how my brain works, and I think it just depends, as I said, on what really works for you.
Totally agree. Yeah. I think your point on finding what works for you is so critical because and to go back to what you said before of like, people like, "Oh, I set goals, but they don't really work, so I gave up or I stopped doing it." But maybe you're just doing things the way you saw someone else do it and that doesn't work for you. So to your point, like find what works for you because it is possible.
Yeah, everybody works differently, but I find that, and what's so great today is the internet and social media.
Yeah.
I mean, there is so many ideas out there. You'll see an idea, on a reel, or you'll see an idea on Facebook or on YouTube, and you go, "That's a great idea. I'm going to try that." And I think
Yeah.
that being open to figuring out
Yeah.
what's going to work for you um,
Yeah.
is really important. I just figured out following a to-do list for me. It's pretty simple. It's pretty mundane, but that's how I get things done.
Yeah. Yeah, well, back to the manager analogy is like I have to manage myself or I'll just like run off, into like a sunflower field. Like I'll be so distracted and confused if I don't.
I just imagined you running off into that sunflower sea.
Sounds nice right now, doesn't it?
I'm pulling you back. Okay, I'm pulling you back.
Yeah, yeah, we're back on track. We got
That's
this.
your CEO pulling your back. Your inner CEO pulling you back.
Yep. She's a hard driver, that inner CEO in my brain. She keeps things in line. That's a good thing. And so, and you have, you've alluded to this a little bit already, but that 90-day goals playbook, do you want to tell us a little bit more about that and how we can get access?
Yeah. Well, you just go to my website, which is www.mymentorbiz, B-I-Z or Z.com. And you'll see a pop up there where you can just put your name in and receive it. And it's really just a step-by-step guide for entrepreneurs, business entrepreneurs, okay, who want to achieve their goals in 90 days. And as we plan, as we talked about, it's a 5-step process. Okay. Makes it pretty simple. You just, answer those vital questions that we talked about in the beginning, which is really important. It sets yourself up to achieve the goal. Um, I've been coaching clients for over 20 years with this process, and that's why I know it really works. Um, and setting those milestones for yourself, those 30-day milestones, makes it more achievable, because sometimes you set a goal and you think, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? 90 days? Oh, that's a long time. Well,
Mhm.
able to do this, but you're actually setting yourself up for success by setting up those milestones and then working on coming up with that brain dump that we talked about, right? And getting all the tasks that's going to take. It takes a while, but once you get them, you feel so good. This now I know how I'm going to achieve the goal, because you've got those little tasks all written down. You prioritize them, put them on those post-it notes on a board, or on a piece of paper, whatever way works for you. And then in the 90-day playbook, I have weekly goal sheets that you actually fill out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And if you print those out for each week, you're just writing. It's like keeping a little journal of writing down what you were achieving for the week. And then you follow those daily action steps. Those are the action steps that you've come up with on achieving the goal. So it's pretty simple, as I said, and people can get it at my website at www.mymentorbiz.com.
Beautiful. And we will have that linked in the show notes for you guys. So you can go ahead and access it there. That's a free gift from Gale to us. So I know I'm going to grab my copy. So I encourage you to do the same, because when we follow the system and find what works for us, we really can make those things come true that maybe we thought were too big or hairy or audacious. And when you break it down and make it manageable enough, it's possible. And so let's go, achieve our dreams and crush those goals and do some amazing things without the overwhelm. And Gale, thank you so much for your time today and sharing your wisdom with us and your tools and for the free gift. We are so honored to have you here.
Thank you, Lindsay. It's so lovely to talk with you today. And I hope that, this has been helpful for your listeners out there, especially for those people who say to themselves, I don't set goals. I never achieve.
Yeah.
I set goals and I never achieve them, or I don't write them down, or I do write them down and I don't look at them, whatever it is. I just feel if you have a simple process of knowing how you're going to achieve the goal, that you
Yeah.
will achieve it. So thanks so much for having me. I so appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I love that word you used, simple, because, we can really make it easy. So thank you so much for, teaching us how to do that.
Good. Excellent.
Thank you for braving the inside of your mind with me. The better we understand ourselves, the more deeply we understand the world, and as our awareness grows, life just gets better and better. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to leave a review and share this with anyone else you think could benefit from listening. A quick reminder that the content shared in this podcast is for informational purposes only. I am not a licensed therapist, and the discussions here are not a substitute for professional advice. If you're dealing with a specific issue or need personalized guidance, please consult with a qualified professional. Your well-being is important, and this podcast is simply a platform for sharing insights and experiences. I appreciate you spending this time with me. Until next time.